Hi everyone, this is Cory McCarthy, and welcome to a new episode. I had mentioned before that I was going to do a new Q&A when I hit 2,000 subscribers. Well, I've since passed that. It actually happened faster than I thought it was going to. And so, here is the second Q&A. So let's get started. Whether you know that Powerball gyro thingy device and think there's any value in strengthening a weak grip. Well, I've never heard of it, and I don't pay much attention to things that I perceive to be gimmicks and that cash in on people who just don't know any better. If you want to strengthen your grip, you should try things like working on deadlifts, forearm exercises like hammer curls, reverse curls, Zotman curls, performing plate pinches, and don't rely so heavily on straps for the work you do. Do more of the work raw. You can try a tool like the fat grips. I use these and I love them. I have both the standard and the extremes now. And you may also try activities like rope climbing or rock climbing or even martial arts. My grip and my forearms have really improved from years of, hitting shit with force, like pads, bags, makiwara, people. Anyway, that's all I have to say on that. Hey Cory, I was wondering about your opinion on frequency and routines. What is your routine like? Is it a full body, upper body, lower body, bro split, or something else? And what do you believe to be the most effective? Thanks, and keep up the impressive content. It's very helpful. I currently train everything twice a week except for legs. Monday and Friday is chest, back, and traps. Tuesday and Saturday is shoulders and arms. And Wednesday I train legs exclusively, and I absolutely trash them. They are my strongest body part, and actually I threaten to overpower my upper body, so I do limit them to once a week. This is why I emphasize building a routine for your body and your needs, because we all respond in our own way, even if marginally so. Now, my sessions are higher volume, about 24 to 30 working sets per day with 3 to 4 exercises per body part at about 3 sets each from anywhere from 5 to 10 reps per set, and that's to failure. I go to failure in all the sets, the working sets that is. And I'm in the gym between 60 and 90 minutes usually per session. Now, this year, Brad Schoenfeld and Brett Contreras actually jointly put out a paper demonstrating that thrice weekly frequency was superior to once weekly, or aka bro splitting. The higher frequency group experienced superior gains in muscle thickness, but strength gains were actually rather equal in both groups. This was no shock to me, as I had always personally felt that higher frequency is best for naturals to optimize muscular gains. One more training note. In another paper by Brad Schoenfeld from 2014 that was comparing 7 sets of 3 reps to 3 sets of 10 reps, muscular growth was actually the same in both groups, and strength was only a hair better in the 7x3 group. Thus, it also appears that overall cumulative work volume in your session is more important than a specific rep range or for growth, that is. So perhaps give all that some consideration when building your routine. Now on to the next question. Do you have any thoughts on rep cadence? Some high-intensity advocates recommend 5-to-5 ratio. What is your take? Personally, I just change it up. But I don't really count the tempos too closely. Sometimes I take a grueling, slow eccentric with very explosive concentrics. Sometimes I take both of them slow with sort of a paused contraction at the top. And typically, I rep pretty evenly. Something like 1 to 2 seconds concentric and eccentric phases with a 1 second contraction phase, with a minuscule rest at the bottom. But I don't bounce that either. So when I say minuscule, there's a little bit, but it's not a bounce. Anecdotic side, there is some research to support optimal tempos for growth. A 2006 study, for instance, demonstrated that 3-second concentrics and eccentric phases with 1 second contraction and no rest at the bottom did just as well as more conventional 1 second concentric eccentrics with 1 second rest at the bottom, at eliciting muscle growth, that is. So my suggestion is to find what works for you and your personal muscle fiber makeup, but perhaps begin with those two tempo suggestions. I have broken a bone, so I can't lift, but I need to lose fat. What should I do to lose fat and not muscle? Well, you didn't clarify what you broke specifically, so let me just generalize here. I would first manipulate your diet to a maintenance level and do what exercise you can safely perform, but be it walking or running, whatever, while you recover. Keep protein within range for a bodybuilder. I'd personally shoot for the higher end of the range, and I've gone over protein in previous videos. This should help you maintain what you have, but also allow you to slowly lean out. Unfortunately, some muscle and strength loss may actually be inevitable, depending on the duration of your recovery. But luckily, with muscle memory, you should bounce back relatively quick once you get into lifting again. You should train what body parts you can that are unaffected by the break, obviously, even with machines or cables, which can remove some of the stabilizers. Between that and diet, try to minimize the muscle loss and strength loss. You may also consider supplementing with Cissus quadrangularis. Now, find a good extract. I use True Nutrition's bulk powder product, and I've done a video on Cissus previously, which I will link in the description. I cannot recommend it enough, actually, for soft and hard tissue injuries. What is your favorite ab workout? My abs actually get a lot of work during the big compound lifts, so the most direct work I do for them are ab wheel rollouts, which I really love, actually, and I rely on. Decline sit-ups, usually weighted, and hanging leg raises. I kind of avoid direct oblique work, like side bends and twists, because my obliques are already quite developed from over 2 decades in the martial arts because of all of that kicking. Hey Cory, congratulations. Fiber, how important is it? Pros and cons, types and sources. Well, first, thank you on the congratulations. There is soluble and insoluble. Soluble is found in foods like oats, beans, apples, and barley. Insoluble is found in foods like cauliflower, green beans, potatoes, and nuts. Fiber helps with regulating your bowel, your bowel health, cholesterol management as well as blood sugar control. The Institute of Medicine suggests that men should aim for 30 to 38 grams of fiber per day, and women for 21 to 25 grams per day. Too much fiber can actually poorly affect mineral absorption, like iron, zinc, magnesium, and calcium, and this can put you at risk for deficiencies, like poor blood health, bone health, and even lowered sex hormone values. So too much fiber may actually cause discomfort and constipation as well. How might someone who is new to veganism and weight training or endurance training develop a meal plan without risking any deficiencies? Well, really just ensure that you eat an ample, varied, whole foods-based meal plan. You can work in some protein powders if you like, but don't depend on them. Include fruits and vegetables, especially green veggies. Personally, I love broccoli and spinach. And you may consider supplementing with a vegan B-12, possibly a vegan D3, which are made from lichen. If you don't get enough sunlight, that is, or if you're fair-skinned as fuck like I am. If you are a female, you may also consider supplementing with a vegan iron supplement on top of what you obtain from your diet. But you'd want to get your levels checked first because you could end up with a toxic overdose if you take too much iron. What vitamins, multivitamins, are good for ensuring adequate nutrition for a healthy but flexible diet? Well, refer back to my previous answer recommending B12 and possibly a vegan D3 and iron supplement if your situation calls for it. You may also consider vegan zinc supplements because that's if you're at risk for being low, especially if you're physically and or sexually active, which can actually deplete your zinc dramatically. Lower zinc levels are associated with lower testosterone levels, which I've covered in a previous video, as well as poorly affecting your skin, your hair, your nails, immunity, brain, coordination, etc. What are some tips on achieving adequate protein consumption for higher protein macros? Well, just eat plenty of protein-rich foods like tofu, beans, lentils, quinoa, and possibly fill in some of the gaps with protein powder, but don't rely on protein powder, as I said before. Protein powders are, for the most part, void of other nutrients. They can be useful if, say, you're tapped out on carbs or fat for the day, and you need another 24 grams of protein, that sort of thing, but that is only really applicable to strict diet strength athletes. The average person, and even some endurance athletes, will do fine consuming the RDA for protein, which is easily obtained from a balanced whole food plant-based diet. What foods personally put you in a good mood? Which gave you energy, and what are your preferred sources of fat, protein, carbs, respectively? Well, I've mentioned before that I feel best personally with fat and protein meals, like certainly most satiated, that is. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mean exorbitant amounts of fat, but a diet consisting of 20 to 30% of my maintenance calories from fat spaced out throughout the day, that usually has me feeling pretty good and satiated. For instance, I've done a Thai spiced tofu and broccoli meal once that was sauteed in coconut oil with melted peanut butter drizzled over the top. It was just absolutely amazing, and it totally filled me up. Now, not to say that I don't carb up, but I prefer fruit to starches when I do, and specifically bananas and berries. So yeah, for protein, soy is a favorite of mine. For carbs, fruit, and for fat, nuts and seeds. Do you rotate protein powders, i.e. switch between pea, rice, soy, or stick to one kind? I currently use a 50% soy isolate, 35% pea isolate, and 15% rice concentrate blend that I customize over at True Nutrition. I do not cycle it. Have you had blood work done? Do you take B12? How much B12 do you take to supplement a vegan diet? Yes, and I'm in excellent health on the blood work, with regards to the blood work. Yes, I take a vegan liquid sublingual cyanocobalamin product by Now Foods. This product provides me with 16,667% of the daily value of B12 within one single dose. Vegan keto, what are your thoughts? I've done it before, and keto diets are beneficial to people who suffer from epilepsy. In a study I've discussed in previous videos, participants on a vegan keto diet actually lost weight, improved cholesterol levels, and reduced blood pressure. But I recommend once daily carb refeeds, so a cyclic approach every 5 to 7 days. Now, keto is just another tool in the shed. It's not magical anything, so I don't want people thinking that like keto is going to magically give you some great benefit to fat loss. You still need a modest caloric deficit to lose fat by virtue of diet and or exercise. But I will also note it is really fucking restrictive as a vegan. You will find yourself limited to foods like tofu, maybe Beyond Meat products, broccoli, spinach, oils, protein powders, nuts, and seeds. No fruits except on refeeds, or colored vegetables for that matter, and no higher carb foods generally except on the refeeds. So personally, I would use keto to dry out quickly for a photo shoot or something like that, but otherwise, I'm happy with my intermittent fasting approach right now. Advice on what to expect or to do after ending a competition cut. Now, I've never competed, but I know competitors and models, and I have done photo work, and I have also done cuts. So I can safely say to ease back into your calories. Do not binge or leap into higher calories straight away. Increase your calories modestly and gradually each week until you hit your maintenance level. Adjust and increase based on how you look and how you feel. And this is something called reverse dieting, by the way. If you ease into a surplus, you might notice a rebound effect, as it's known by bodybuilders, which means basically your muscles are sucking up all the nutrients you provide them, and possibly you'll experience a modest but temporary spike in growth. What were the most difficult aspects of choosing veganism for you, social and dietarily, and how did you deal with them? Well, let me start by saying that I went vegan in 2013. For me, coming from a previous 11 years as a vegetarian, veganism wasn't that drastic of a dietary shift. I just dropped whey protein, cheese, and ice cream and eggs, basically. I had no issues meeting my nutritional needs as a vegan. I just applied the same calorie and macro strategies to veganism that I had done with vegetarianism, and based on, of course, the current sport nutrition research. I do feel worlds better anecdotally, cleaner, if you will, more energy, no more inflammation or bloating. This has, without a doubt, positively affected my performance and my physique. Socially, I can't really say that anything has changed for me. People didn't really get my previous vegetarianism, so that divide hasn't really noticeably differed. At this point, I'm rather hardened, actually, to the stupidity and ignorance that I receive from people, uh, and I pretty much heard it all. So I'm not, to add to that, I'm not really the most socially inclined person to begin with. I'm more about business, my lifting, my diet, my music, and other odds and end goals that I have. So likely to that end, I'm not going to experience quite the pushback from peers that others would, who are more socially inclined than I am. Simply by virtue of the fact that of me not spending the majority of my time around my peers. So I can't say that anything was all that difficult for me. And even if it were, the movement, the vegan movement, was so important to me that I just have managed and soldiered forth anyway. So those are the only questions that I got this time around. I hope this has been informative for you guys, and you guys enjoy it as much as it appears you enjoyed the previous Q&A session that I did. I may do another Q&A at the next 1,000 subscribers I get, which could basically be in a week, but let's not jump to conclusions there. That's just what it was last time. It took about a week. Or if I see it happening too frequently, and just for sake of having some variety, I might do Q&As every month. We'll see how it goes, basically. But to stay on top of things like this, do check out and like my official Facebook page, where you can even pose questions for the next Q&A, or even requests for videos for me to do. And I will have my official Facebook page linked down in the description below. Anyway, I will see you guys for another episode coming up. Until then, stay fit, stay formidable, and stay fantastic. Can't really flex in this shirt. See you guys around.